What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. Well, we won, man. It's a great victory. We've been winning the last couple of weeks. Baltimore. Great win against Baltimore. Last week, this week, great wins, but they just feel a little ugly, a little playful from the Lions. Not too serious, kind of just we'll just try whatever because we know we're gonna win these games. And they've been ugly games. I mean, we win convincingly, but they just been ugly games. You can tell the Lions are out there like ho hum, like whatever. And then you asked me a great question, right in the middle of the fourth quarter. Who do we play next week? And lo and behold, it's the Chiefs. So, you know, I mean, I think we can beat the Chiefs, but it's like after 2 weeks of playing ho hum, now you got to come with your A game, and sometimes it's just hard to turn it on. I mean, the Lions did it, one last time for that score, but so it can be hard to come back from that, especially with us starting to accumulate injuries. What are your thoughts on the game, man?
Yeah, I can see how this is the best roster he's had since he's been here. The thing is, like you said, we have Kansas City next week. We had that huge game against Baltimore. It was, like you said, all hands on deck. It was a great game, a great victory. And then, we come back with the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, two of the worst teams in football right now. And I agree with you. I feel like the Lions wanted to win the game, but there was a combination of things. The one thing that they'll tell you is that, they wanted to iron out some details, get some guys acclimated to positions because down the road we might want to use them in this position. So, they essentially, again, use this as a preseason game or a joint scrimmage. and that's cool and everything, but there's also the part where I am convinced that this was the David Montgomery game. Now, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at them for, it's his hometown and his sister and the whole story and everything. But I don't know. A part of me just feels like last week they were hell bent on forcing the ball to JMO. This week they were hell bent on forcing the ball to David Montgomery. And then now you play a real team next week who is probably going to win tomorrow, and they're probably going to have some momentum on their side, and they're at home. So I don't know. On top of that, like you said, we got some injuries piling up, especially on the defensive side. Khalif Raymond, he missed a chunk of season last year. Looks like he's gonna miss another chunk of season this year. So in steps Dominic Lovett as our new returner, it appears, unless they want to try something else. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I feel about these essentially using these games as joint practices.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we won, I'm good with it. Like I said, it's just if we come out and we look good tomorrow and we can just turn it on like we've been turning it on, have no issues with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I didn't like the way we looked out there. And like I said, and like we've been saying, you can tell they just out there ho hum, and they're not really trying. They know they got the game under control, so they're not really worried about the game. But so I'm just interested to see how they're gonna come out next week. And if they come out and they're fine next week, then hey, no harm, no foul for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's on the podium right now saying, "Hey, yeah, we won the game, but we got a lot of stuff we got to clean up." And eventually, like you said, man, that you know the talent is there. You know that this is a good team, but all these mental mistakes. Like it's not they're not even physical mistakes out there. Everything that's happening, and when people get these big chunk plays on there, they're always mental mistakes. They're always somebody was in the wrong position or somebody wasn't paying attention during that particular play. And you know what I'm saying? But all the other plays are locked down. So, you know what I'm saying? But once we come across once we start getting to the latter end of our schedule, those can turn into defeats, and that's what worries me.
Yeah, I don't like that. I just when you say when they play, for instance, Kansas City next week, they should be able to just turn it on, and that like I don't know why you would even play with the idea of having to turn it on. It should already be on. You should use this game as an opportunity to make sure that you are firing on all cylinders. You should, like it's stuff like I've been looking it up but I can't find it. I guess I think it comes out. I think it takes like 24 hours before they release it. But like the snap count, you say that the team has been making a lot of mental mistakes, and I'm not going to disagree with you. But I would add the coaching staff to that. The coaching staff seems to be making a lot of mental mistakes or these judgment calls. Like I was joking with you, but Al Qadim Muhammad, was second on his team in sacks. And you got people writing articles about Al Qadim Muhammad and saying, "Oh, we apologize, Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes. We see that you always had a pass rushing strategy in your mind. Da 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 da. I see you got pass rushers." And then you look up and like I said, I can't find the snap count for this game. It's gonna come out tomorrow. But I swear, man, Al Qadim Muhammad couldn't have played any more than a third of the snaps. I looked at last week against the Browns. Now that information is available. And last week against the Browns, Aiden Hutchinson played 94% of the snaps. Okay, perfect sense, right? Al Qadim Muhammad, coming off of his Baltimore game, played 37% of the snaps, which seems like a low number, but okay, okay, that's fine. 37% of the snaps, maybe you had to work somebody else in. The other person they had to work in was Tyler Lacey. Tyler Lacey also played today, and he gave you one tackle. And it's like, I bet you tomorrow when it comes out, Tyler Lacey played more than Al Qadim Muhammad. So it's like, why? And then you look at the stats, right? Aiden Hutchinson led the team in QB hits. You know who was second? Al Qadim Muhammad. But like I said, man, I promise you, man, he did not get as much opportunity as he should have. And then you see Jake Browning, who is an awful quarterback, and he's been awful for the past 2 weeks. He's averaged like a 25 QBR, 25% QBR the past 2 weeks, but against Lions, he has a 75% QBR. So it's like, you say, oh, they still won the game, and they did, but I just don't understand what does it benefit the Lions to just do enough to win the game?
I don't think there are benefits. I mean, like I said, they it's just like you said. Like I'm saying that I expected them to come out and blow out the Browns and blow out the Cincinnati. And they could have. Like, I could see that they could blow it out. It was clear that they could blow out both of these teams. And while we put up high numbers, like I said during this game, and somewhat during, I mean, the Browns are a little bit better than Cincinnati is right now. But like I said during this game, the Lions could have put up like 60 or 70 points, but they were just playing around with it. Like the defense got so many turnovers, and we were just running the ball at the middle of the defense, and it was clear that the defense was the middle of their defense. The middle of their defensive line was their strong point, but we just kept running into it. You know what I'm saying? No adjustments, no no, let's just see if we can break it. You know what I'm saying? Basically. And it didn't work. Well, fuck it. Let's try it again. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're gonna lose the game. And that's how they were out there. That's the mentality it felt like they were running with. Like, they're like, we're gonna lose again. Let's try it again. If we don't get it, we'll just punt and try it next time. But they just weren't doing it. They were just out there, fiddling around.
It just feels like a lack of respect for the opponent.
Yeah.
The Lions on defense, nobody plays more man coverage. I don't know if that still holds true this season, but last season nobody played more man coverage, and I'm sure it hasn't changed much this year. But on the offensive side, you might want to give some respect to Trey Hendrickson, especially when you are starting left tackle and he's getting his first career start in the NFL, and he's going to be staring down Trey Hendrickson all day. Trey Hendrickson, who, let's look at it, had, Manu was struggling out there, man. He was struggling out there.
But that was that, and to your point that you said earlier, that's the coach's fault, because I don't understand why. Like you said, it's his first start in a real NFL game. They've been having him behind the scenes and working on him. Why start him against one of the best defensive ends in the game? Why not put Panay on left tackle? Because to your point, what you text me, eventually once Decker retires, we plan to see Panay on the left side anyway. He played left tackle at Oregon. Why not put Panay on the left side? Let him face off against Hendricks. Put your brand new, I'm still gonna call him a rookie because he ain't played. He's been in the league for 2 years, but he's not played one snap of a real game. Put him on the other side and let him go against lesser competition than one of the top guys in the league. I mean, yeah, that's a setup for failure. You know what I'm saying? That's setting somebody up for failure. And I halfway don't blame them, because it's just, you know what I'm saying, it's hard it being your first start and you got to face off against a guy like that.
Absolutely. And another thing is that, is I'm not freaking out, but I am just saying that, again, where's the consistency at? Last week, you got the ball, you threw the ball to JMO so much that I was getting a headache watching them constantly try to get the ball to JMO. You targeted JMO more than any other player on that team, and it never worked. It never worked out. So I just knew in my heart of hearts that they were going to go back to the drawing board. They were going to, like you said, they should have been practicing that all week if that was the goal, was to get the ball to JMO. So in my heart of hearts, I just knew that they were going to practice that all week, and they wasn't going to just let that poor performance, they just weren't going to walk away from that conversation. I knew they were going to come back to it, stick a pin in it, come back. And this week we was going to see Goff and JMO connect, and people would be like, yeah, see, they can connect. JMO finished that game with one target, and 1 rush and 1 completion and 1 reception for a total of 10 yards. like that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's like we've been saying all along, man. The coaches, not we've been saying, but the coaches explain it like this, man. Everybody has a game, and they call up certain games for certain players. Last week they called up a game for J-Mo. This week they called up a game for D-Mont. You know what I'm saying? Next week, I'm sure they'll take next week more serious, so the ball will get spread around a lot more, and we'll see our real offense in play. Similar to what that last drive was when we scored on that last drive. We'll see the real offense out there, but yeah, man, like I said, man, it just felt like a playful thing. They were just kind of like, hey, yeah, Demont's, in back in at his hometown. Let's drop some plays for him. You know what I'm saying? Enough to get us the lead, and then we can, go full tilt on Demont. Like it's concerning. It's not. I mean, it's concerning to see on the field because it looks ugly, but at the same time, we it's like who to take serious and who not to take serious, and the man like you said, this game, like you said, that game was silly, man. It was kind of a joke of a game, and similarly, the Browns were a little bit better, but that kind of was a joke of a game too.
All right. Well, that being said, the Lions did win 37-24. Like we said, it never really was in doubt. The Bengals cut it to a 2-score game at the closest. I would love to see a little bit more from the defense. And that's that's a tough ask after you had multiple players leave the game due to injury, and we'll see who makes it to next week. But like you said, Hutchinson, there was a number of plays that that were mostly nullified by Terrion Arnold. But Hutchinson almost made a lot of big plays. He could have had, like you said, 3 sacks in that game. But it's good to see him continue to be engaged, continuing to work his way back into typical Hutchinson form. The other thing that
it was a lot of questionable calls in that game, man, and we're used to it, man. It's not like we're new to questionable calls against Detroit, but you know what I'm saying, it just felt weird. You know what I'm saying, they weren't showing a lot of replays on a lot of those questionable calls when usually you will see replay after replay. Like instantly, you'll see a play 6 times before they even get to before the ref even goes to the booth to review it, and we weren't even really getting that. And then when we did get it, it would be some awkward angle, or it'd be like a sky cam. And I mean, and we're good enough to be on the other side of it, on the winning side of it this time, but it was just weird.
Yeah, like mainly that. Well, my biggest thing in that game was that Jamar Chase, his first touchdown, where he caught it, and it was just like, "Oh, great catch by Jamar Chase." But like, if that was any other team, or if it wasn't the Lions that they were playing against, they would have reviewed that. They would have gave you like 5 different angles, slow motion, slowed it down, counted the toes, everything with a magnifying glass, fine tooth comb. But that one, I swear, they just was like, yeah, he caught it. That's Jamar Chase. Let's move on. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, they did that with a lot of what Hutch's safety. They
Detroit